There we are. Oops, I gotta turn down my volume. Oh, shoot. I turned it off. What happened here? Fart.
Do the same thing I do.
Okay. Anita's here. Hi, Anita. And Chris is here. Hi, Chris. And Dana. Dana, how are you? Okay, get that to turn down. Okay, now I'm upside down.
I think you still have it on.
Do I?
Yeah, I don't think you've got it muted right now.
Oh, there. We're good now.
Okay.
Okay, so Anita's here. Chris is here. Dennis here. Laura's here. Hi, everybody. So we're drinking one of Walter's famous fruit concoctions.
It's pretty much the same as last week. So.
Yeah, getting bored with those. But anyways, so hope everybody's been okay and well, and everybody is safe and as happy as we can be as we are in sort of quarantine. I know a lot of people are getting a little bit antsy right now, and it doesn't help when you turn on the news and you hear about different places in and around North America anyways, especially in the States, where they're talking about opening things back up, which is a little bit premature. I just saw a thing on YouTube, one of the YouTubes that I follow, which is about cruising, and all they do, these cruisers, still think there's going to be cruises in another month's time. I'm getting so tired of hearing about that because it's not going to happen.
Now, mind you, the people that are saying that are travel agents.
Well, yeah.
And their bottom line is it's when they need to make money. So
Everybody needs to make money. Right now, they're not the only ones in the industry. But at what cost? I mean, Georgia supposedly has opened up nail and hair salons, and now we're talking about opening up grocery stores and restaurants, or not grocery stores, but restaurants and things like that, and bars. I mean, come on, it's too premature.
Believe it or not, there's actually people booking them. That's
Who would book one now anyway? Yeah, actually, there are people booking them though. And you know, we're going to talk about this in a minute, just an update on our situation with that river cruise that we're trying to get our money back from. But they're still advertising that they have a cruise available. And they want, like, not right like now, but they want people to put down their money right now.
Mm-hmm.
And no guarantees as to when those are going to happen or if they will happen. That's the other thing. I mean, I would be foolish for anybody to book anything right now. I mean, as much as we'd all like to be able to go back to normal, at what cost? Like, our Prime Minister has been talking about this because some of our provinces are talking about gradually reopening things like next month. Well, he's saying, no, you know, basically, do we want to go through this all again? Everything that we've gained maybe up to this point, we could lose it all. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Laura, all the companies, they're all looking profits. For profits.
Yeah, it's all about money. I mean, especially here in North America and in the United States, money makes the world go round. But at what cost, really? I mean, I feel sorry for these companies. I especially feel sorry, not for the big, huge corporations, because they will bounce back. But I feel really sorry for the little businesses, the mom and pop shops out there and things like that, because they're the ones that are really going to go under, because they don't have the capital behind them to keep them afloat. And they're the ones that I think we need to support where we can, but we have to do it in a very controlled way. I mean, ordering stuff from them online, if they have an online presence, I would think a lot of these small mom and pops might, if they don't have one, probably are thinking maybe they should have had one for that. You know, but I'm not going to take my chances. They open something up like a restaurant or whatever. I'm not going to take chances of catching this disease. It's too early in the game. Anita says they're trying to please Trump. Yeah. Hi, Virginia. Second wave has not hit us yet either. Yeah, that's right. The second wave hasn't come through yet. China opened up too soon. And we're not hearing a lot out of China right now because China keeps everything, tight-lipped. They lied to us about their numbers before and everything else like that. So I wouldn't trust anything that comes out of China.
Oh, actually, I haven't heard about the city in Japan that has a second wave.
Oh, is there one? Where's that? Oh, Laura's saying that. Which city is in Japan that's had a second wave of COVID because they tried to reopen too quickly? Was it Osaka? I don't know.
Osaka? I'm
Osaka?
not sure. I haven't.
No, sorry, I haven't heard about that one. But it doesn't surprise me. Hi, Bonnie. Luckily, I was able to get a refund, Virginia says, for upcoming Florida vacation. Yeah. Well, Ohio finds, Anita says, Ohio finds out tomorrow what the plan is. And Chris says, I think there'll be a new type of normal when it's all over. Yeah, for sure. The world is not going to be the same as it was before we went into COVID isolation. But there's a cure. Apparently, yep. I'm going to run out and get that Lysol, inject myself with it. Yep, that's really going to cure me. I think everybody knows my reference.
Knows that.
Yeah, but I mean, really, there are stupid people out there that would try it. I mean, believe it or not, there are. So I mean, that's the next thing we're going to hear about somebody dying because they injected themselves with Lysol.
Bonnie says about New Brunswick. New Brunswick numbers aren't very high, though, are they?
No, I don't think New Brunswick's numbers are high, and Saskatchewan's talking about doing it too. And Saskatchewan has only had about 4 cases.
No, they had 4 deaths.
Or 4 deaths.
They had about 230 cases altogether.
Of course, in Ontario,
almost all of them have been resolved, I think.
Yeah. In Ontario, we have the second highest number.
Yeah.
Quebec beats us on that, but half of our deaths are in our nursing homes. So speaking of which, update my mother. Just got off the phone from her about an hour ago. They still, I don't want to say still, it's like I'm expecting it, but they have not had any cases, which has been really good. But as I've said before, they've done an excellent job and continue to do an excellent job. They're going to start up a Facebook page now where people can, we had to give them permission to sort of join it. It's not up yet, but it's about to go up. And they're going to have pictures of things that they're doing over at the nursing home, and I guess pictures of your relatives or whoever's in there and stuff like that, which is just another means of communication. But she's fine, and everybody there's fine. She told me today that they weren't eating in the same spots. They moved them around. So I said, well, why? You're eating in smaller groups now, Mom? Because they have one big main dining room which holds 200 of them. And she says, yes. And I said, well, that's probably a good thing, Mom. They're trying to, keep you from, split it up a little bit so people aren't just like a type of social distancing. So that's a good thing. So what else are people saying here? Bonnie says there's 11 active cases in New Brunswick. Hi, Andy. Hi, Janine. Chris says, we were allowed to postpone our accommodation booking on the Gold Coast. Yeah, I have a problem with the postponements, though. Now I don't know if you put any money up front for that or whatnot, but that's a money grab too, because I'm not going to sit around and wait, and that's the fight we're having with the River Cruise Company, a part of our fight right now. There is no guarantee that even though you've got a deposit down on some place, that this place is going to open up again. It would depend on the place, it would depend on how big it is, whether it's a big corporate thing or something a little smaller. You could lose everything financially on that. So right now, my recommendation to anybody is, okay, we all would like to be on a holiday. I'm right in there with everybody else. I'd be loved to have been going away. But we can't. And I'm not giving them any money for it. And if it means I have to wait a while.
They booked and paid up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, what I always do when I book a hotel, even though it's a little bit more expensive, I like to have a cancellation policy.
Yeah, I get your point, Chris, that you paid up front, it was non-refundable, so very grateful we could postpone. But can I ask you, when did you do that? I'm thinking you did this some time ago before COVID. came out, I would think. I mean, like us, we had booked months and months and months before COVID ever came out.
Actually, we
the
booked
river
it
cruise.
last September.
Yeah, we booked it last September. Last September, COVID wasn't even in the language. Um, the only Corona we had then was a beer, you know. Um, so let's see what else. I'm behind here. Oh, I'm way behind. Anita says we took a drive yesterday just to get out, tried to stop by Menards to pick up something. We had masks, but the parking lot looked like Christmas. Is that a grocery store, Anita? No one's wearing masks. We turned around and went home. Yeah, the verdict is still out on the mask business, as far as the cloth masks, not the ones that the health authorities need. You hear many different things about how effective they are. I suppose it's maybe better than nothing. I guess.
It's Maynard's is a chain of home improvement stores.
Oh, okay.
We don't have Maynard's here. We have Lowe's and Home Depot.
Yeah. Bonnie says, but we had a lot more than that. 119, I believe, no deaths. Okay. Yeah, we know it's stupid, Laura, with Trump. But then do we expect anything more from him? Just when you think he can't do anything more stupid, he does. Doesn't disappoint though on that line, does he? Just catching up here. Has your mom's care home, Laura said, been doing things better than other care homes, or do you think they have just been lucky? No, I think they've actually been doing things better than other care homes. They stopped visitors coming right at the beginning of all of this.
I mean, actually, right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, before other homes were stopping people coming in.
Before we even thought this was going to turn into what it has turned into, that they were stopping people from coming in and visiting. And even when people were coming in to visit, we had to sign a waiver saying, we hadn't been out of the country, we weren't coughing and everything like that, and they were starting to take people's temperature when they came in. And then right after they started doing that, it was only maybe a day or two when they started the temperature thing, they shut her right down. And they're doing their staff all the time, and they've had 19 tests of residents to date, and they've all come back negative. They've been in full communication with all of us that have relatives in there and the whole bit. The other ones here in our area, like in Toronto area, that have been having the problems, poorly run, no communication. Many of their workers have several jobs. They work in several different homes, so they're getting it in one place, not knowing they've got it, bringing it into another one. They're a wreck. And the reason they're a wreck is they're all privately owned. There is some government regulation on nursing homes in our province, in our country. Every province though has different regulations, and now there's an outcry for having this done by the federal government, standardizing it, which I agree with them. I think the government should take over. Two things I think our government should take over at a national level: healthcare and education. I think those should be federal, not provincial, because there aren't any standards across the country then for that. And the nursing homes really have pointed that out. Yes, I think they have been lucky as well with it. They have a really good administrator there who's right on the ball, and I hope they continue to be that way. But most of these homes are owned by corporations. Now, the one my mother's in is a little bit different. It's owned by a type of company, but it is a Christian based.
Yeah, actually, there's a series of groups in Canada called. They're a Dutch-based group, and they're called Christian Homes. So, I think in Toronto, there's like one called Toronto or GTA or something,
Yeah.
Christian Homes. And in here, there's one called Durham Christian Homes. They run 2 nursing homes and 2 senior residents in the area. So they're kind of a smaller outfit, they're not really, they're part of a bigger group, but they're a smaller
Yeah.
outfit. So
They seem to be a little less directed towards profit and more directed towards, supporting, uh, the elderly and that kind of thing. Where some of the other homes, they are strictly
Like-
part of huge conglomerate corporations that couldn't give a crap.
they're also a nonprofit group, so they're not there for profit type of thing. They're there to, I'm sure if their profits go towards the larger group or whatever.
Yeah.
But
And Bonnie says, is it a private or home your mom, or is it government run? None of the homes, I think, in Canada are.
yes, they're
about-
government run.
Yeah, I know, but-
Fairview Lodge and Hillsdale are all government run. They're,
Purely government?
yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't think there were
they're
any purely
actually they're
government.
run by the city.
Oh,
Fairview Lodge is run by Whitby,
Hmm.
and Hillsdale's are run by Oshawa.
oh, okay. So there's the answer to that. Bonnie says the issue if it's a private and don't pay well, and the staff have to work 2 jobs. Yeah, and that's one of the things. Now, apparently, our provincial government has put in a regulation now that, which is going to be hard on the workers, is saying nope, they can only work in one place. They cannot work between 2. Well, then they need to give them more money because they're not paid well for the kind of work they do. They really need to be paid much better than they are. Because those people do a lot of quite literally shitty jobs, and they're not being paid for that the way they should be. Chris says, my son-in-law's grandmother's 96 and she's nursing home in Sydney. They speak once a week on the phone. Her home is one of the only Spanish-speaking homes in Australia. She only speaks Spanish. And Bonnie says, I worked in one for 30 plus years, non-profit, but subsidized by the government. Yeah. Yeah, well, what this is really showing us in our country is where we're lacking in our elder care and in our healthcare system. I mean, we have supposedly one of the better healthcare systems in the world, but you want to know something? A lot of flaws in it too. But like any government, when this thing's all over with, they won't learn. They won't do anything about it. Private ones aren't necessarily better here in Canada. They depend on how much profit they expect. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, yeah, but for my mother's home, they're doing a really good job. I'm really happy with them, and I hope it continues that way. So how's everybody coping with isolation? Because that's going to be today's topic when we get there. Is everybody still enjoying their time off and that kind of thing? Here in the States, the virus is calling attention to the staffing on homes. However, each state determines the minimum number of residents to staff ratio. Yeah, and that's basically what happens here too, Anita. It's a similar system. So, we've been busy. We've been doing what we usually do. To be honest, I haven't found this isolation thing that big a hardship. In terms of the fact that we're retired. So the one thing I do miss, and I know as the weather gets nicer, if it ever gets nicer here in Ontario, they're having nicer weather out west where usually it's the reverse. But I know that I'll want to go somewhere, and that'll be the hard part once the weather becomes nicer. But we got to hang in there. One thing that is depressing me though a little bit is I got to stop watching the news because, it's never anything good. It's all bad. And the media, of course, makes it even worse. And I hate these reporters keep saying to the Prime Minister, well, when are we going to be done with this? Give us a date. He can't give a date. And people think they get a false sense of hope that this is going to be over. Like now it seems the magic time is May. Sometime in May. It's not. It's not going to be sometime in May. It is not going to be sometime until they get some kind of treatment for it. Whether it be a vaccine, which they keep telling us, 12 to 18 months for that, or whether it's some kind of treatment that you can get, some kind of therapy, whatever. I don't know. And that is what's depressing. in this modern day and age of medicine, you'd think that we'd be able to get a vaccine for this thing a lot quicker, especially since, we're throwing a lot of dollars to the World Health Organization, and all the countries supposedly are sort of working together to this. And if you think of the big pharmaceutical companies, oh yeah, money there. They don't want to get involved in anything unless they can somehow guarantee that they're going to turn a massive profit. But every day I watch the Prime Minister when he comes on, and I listen to the same stuff. Our Prime Minister has this phrase that I'm getting really sick of. Every time he's asked about this, and that, he goes, "We recognize." Every sentence he starts with, "We recognize this," or "We recognize that." And I'm getting tired of him recognizing. Just do something now. But I don't know. What are people saying here? Laura's getting a bit frustrated with isolation. Yeah. And he's doing well, keeping busy. Bonnie says, "We're allowed to meet with one family now outside of our home, but it's exclusively to that family." And he says, "My husband has more of a problem. He is furloughed. He's been home 4 weeks." Yeah, I think anybody who has a regular job, the isolation part's probably harder on them. Anybody that's got children at home, it's probably harder on them too. If you know what I mean. Anna Frank and her family and some other people lived in an attic for 3 years. Oh yeah, I think. Anne Frank, okay. And people are complaining about being housebound for a few weeks. Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, we know if the stores are generally closed here on a holiday of some sort, the next day, when during regular time, the next day everybody goes nuts and goes to the store. So I imagine there's a lot of people that are going stir crazy here.
Yeah. Bonnie says, like SARS, they still don't have a vaccine for that, and that's a few years back. Yeah, that's true.
Well, actually, they sort of stopped going for a vaccine because it wasn't as big of an issue.
Well, they still don't have a vaccine for AIDS either, and that's been around since the early 80s, if not much before
well,
then.
See, the biggest problem with AIDS is
it was the gay disease.
It's the length of the incubation period.
And the other problem was that no one got on it real quick because it was only affecting supposedly gay people. It was the gay disease, and it was not. And the Reagan administration at that time refused to even say the word AIDS or HIV. He had his head in the hole. Of course, mind you, he's probably suffering from Alzheimer's at that point in time already. And now you don't hear much about it. And some people think that it's cured. It is not cured. They have therapies for it. It isn't as much of a death sentence as it once was, but people can live longer with it, but they're still having to take a lot of drugs and stuff for it. So, yeah. SARS killed the victims so fast it did not spread like this. Yeah. SARS killed people so fast the virus didn't have enough time to rapidly transmit to a larger population. And then Bonnie says it'll probably come back and then they'll wish they had a vaccine. True. But again, all of this stuff, all of this is governed by the almighty dollar. All of it. I mean, our Prime Minister has been throwing cash around like he can make money. Well, he can. We have a mint. But like all these billions of dollars, like for a government that was complaining that they had a deficit and all this kind of stuff, suddenly every other day out of his mouth comes another billions of dollars for this and billions of dollars for that. And you know who's not getting a cent of it? Us. Because we fall within the category, we are retired people who have pensions, so we don't qualify for anything. And I'm not saying that we should qualify. We don't need it. Give it to the people that need it. However, we will pay for it because when we're out of all of this, you think our taxes are going to stay low? They're not low now. No. And we're just going to get hit right between the eyes. And because we don't have anybody we can write off, we do not have children. We are not dependent. We are men. And we are retired. And we are retired professionals who have pensions.
Bonnie says Scheer's complaining that Trudeau's not doing enough.
Yeah, and what
and
would
do you
Scheer
think
do?
Scheer would be any better when If they were in, I doubt it.
Scheer's just our version of Trump. Thank God he's not a prime minister. Yeah, he wouldn't do anything. Yeah, Anita says, yes, here in the USA, we will have tax increases to pay for the bailout plans. Well, of course. Anybody who thinks this money is free, it's not. I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. Where does the money come from? It comes from us, the taxpayers. So yeah, everything is going to be higher priced. Everything. It won't matter what it is. Your lettuce is going to cost you more. Your cruises are going to cost you more. Your clothing is going to cost you more. Your housing is going to cost you more. Your telephone's going to cost you more. Everything is going to cost us more. And that's going to be a new problem after this problem. So hang on to your pennies. Yeah, and Dana says not all seniors have pensions. That's true. They may have CPP and OAS, but they don't. But not all seniors have pensions. No,
CPP is Canada Pension Plan, and OAS is Old Age Security. So.
Yeah, and those are government things that you basically paid into while you were working at one point. But that's not a huge amount of money. So. No, and I feel sorry for those people that worked in jobs where they didn't have pensions. I'm not going to say I was lucky. It was planned. All right? I make no excuses for the fact that I was a teacher, I'm retired, and I have a good pension. I was a professional. But I had many years of education to get that. I chose my profession, and what people don't realize about teachers' pension plans is we paid into it. Every paycheck. And we didn't pay $1 or $2. We paid 12% of our salary into that pension plan every year. So it isn't like we're getting money for nothing, because we're not.
Yeah, I worked for the government and I had a pension plan as well. And but I also paid into it. I had to pay 10% of my salary into it.
Yeah. Yeah, old age security is a given, Bonnie says, yeah. And it's not a lot of money with that. And Dana says, remember when Trudeau said he didn't have any money for veterans? Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But they still don't. All of this is on paper. They're just robbing Peter to pay Paul with all of this money. They're going to be, the deficit is going to be horrendous. But what else can we do? You know, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have a small business, because this is not the time to have one. It's my birthday. Can you send me a piece of strawberry shortcake? Oh, happy birthday, Bonnie. 29 again, dear?
Yeah, Laura, I'm in the same situation. I have actually Ontario government pension and an OMERS pension because of I used to work for the government, and then during the Harris government, they split us off into a corporation that was covered under OMERS. So my pension ended up being split.
Anita says that their home loan interest is now 2.1%, so much better than 5% it was prior. I know it will go up again, but I'm thinking of fixing it so it stays the same for 5 years. Yeah, that would be a good idea. And that's another thing. You see, we're in a good position financially because we paid off our house quite a few years ago now. So we don't owe any money on mortgages. We don't have any car payments. We don't owe anybody on credit cards or anything like that. We're debt free. Again, that was planned. That's the way we think about things. But there are so many people in our country who are living from paycheck to paycheck. And that's a topic for another day, and I think we've dealt with that topic before, because a lot of those people that are living from paycheck to paycheck are they're not people who are living on the streets or don't have decent jobs or things like that. They're people who have decided they need to have a really large house and several cars and have fabulous vacations every other month and go out to eat a lot. And they're probably all the people that are going nuts right now in isolation.
Happy birthday, Bonnie.
Yeah, I already said that. That's what I said. Bonnie, are you 29 again? Chris says, my husband still goes to work each day as he is in the trucking business, considered an essential worker. Yeah, and that's got to be kind of scary too. You know, like, it's good that he's still working and getting a paycheck, but, you know, he's out there where the disease is too. So that's got to be kind of a worrisome situation. Again, something we don't have to worry about because we don't have to go out. And so we don't, basically. Um, yeah, Bonnie says, yep, it's definitely 29. Um, Bonnie says, but I do have OAS and CPP, so I took it very young. Yeah, what, 15? I didn't know you could get it that young. I took mine at 60. My CPP. I don't qualify for a OAS yet. When do you qualify for that? Is that at 65 or is that 70?
65.
Oh, yay, 2 more years. Woo, woo. Wow, can't wait for that.
2 more for me.
Well, technically 2.5. So anyways, yeah, it's bad. But all of this stuff kind of gets you depressed. Just before we get into more depression, update on a river cruise situation. Well, we're in limbo at the moment. Why are we in limbo?
Because they told me that it would take 10 business days to get back to me, at least.
Yeah, if they ever get back to us.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna bug them this.
Walter already put in that we've gone to Plan B. Plan B is we'll follow their cancellation policy and cancel it and get 50% of our money back. However, we don't know when that'll be, and then see if we can get the other 50% back from our insurance.
We covered that last week.
Yeah, I did, but that's what we're into right now. This is an
Are we
update.
going to talk about Nova Scotia?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess. I didn't really put it on my list because I thought it might be kind of upsetting. But yeah, Walter says, are we going to talk about Nova Scotia? Well, elephant's in the room, isn't it? So, I think everybody knows about Nova Scotia and the horrible tragedy on top of the COVID virus that they had with that shooter, that nut job that killed 18 people, including an RCMP officer and the whole bit. The other thing is it kind of hits a little bit home for us. We do not have any connections with Nova Scotia, but our next door neighbors, when we first moved into this house, they moved in and around about the same time. It was a new subdivision. They were 2 of the victims because they had retired and they moved down to Nova Scotia. That was their dream.
Yeah, they were our neighbors for 19 years.
19
and
years.
About 6 years ago, they sold their house and to fund being able to move to Nova Scotia. They purchased property and they built a house out there. And I guess the last couple of years they were building the house. And the wife retired last year and moved up there permanently. And so she'd only been there for less than a year. And then when we were watching the news, we saw who it was that passed away, and we were in shock.
Yeah. When I first saw it come up on the news and they were interviewing their 2 sons, and their 2 sons live here in our city, in Oshawa, I was looking at it going, those people look familiar. And I saw the picture of Don and Frank, the couple that were killed, and I'm looking and going, why do I know those people? And then Walter came downstairs at the same time as I just saw it TV, and he goes, that's Frank and Don, they're old. And I went, oh God, that's why I know them. He says, yeah. I said, my brain wasn't functioning on that level. So, and apparently we've heard this idiot in Nova Scotia, he had a hit list. Anybody who looked at him sideways was on the hit list. And I think Frank and Don, the people we knew, lived next door. And
or very, very close.
Or very close. And they probably, because the kind of people they were, Frank especially, was fairly, social. He probably talked to that guy, and who knows, maybe pissed the guy off at one point. And by the sounds of things, it wouldn't take much to piss him off. And, then the guy went nuts. So, to have this happen during this time, it's bad enough at any time. But now, the only thing I think that is...
actually, Bonnie, that's not entirely true that he didn't know everybody that was killed, but I looked into it a lot more. He lived at 136 Ocean Drive or something. I can't remember the name of the street. And then right across the road at 135 was the teacher that lived there that he killed.
Yeah.
So he knew her. So
he didn't... They're not absolutely sure how many of them he knew and how many... might have been just when he was out on his rampage he just got, and the whole bit. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter whether he knew them or he didn't know them, he killed them. I mean, the only thing is the cops killed him. And don't tell me, and the RCMP are very tight-lipped about that. He killed one of their own. You can damn well bet that this guy didn't have a chance of living after them because they were going to get him.
You're right. He didn't know all of them, I don't think. So.
No.
But obviously he stopped and killed people that were at the side of the road and everything else. I doubt he knew any of them.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's too bad that the RCMP killed him before he could be brought to justice. Not only being brought to justice, but although it would have been really hard on the families of all these victims and everything, but might give them some sense of closure if they knew why he did it. And now we'll never know. It'll all be speculation forever and ever. And that seems to be the way. You know, the cops, I mean, they've got a hard job. And I'm not saying anything against the cops or the RCMP or anything like that. But what I'm saying is a lot of these cases where you have these kind of things happen, they never come to trial because the cops kill them. You know, now, you know, the cops, circumstances, I guess, you know, if the guy pulls a gun on them, you know, they got to defend themselves. But, and I have no idea, you know, what the right way is to handle it. And I thank God I don't know because I don't want to be, I wouldn't want to be a cop. No way. He stopped the nurses on the highway and shot them. Yeah. We had a minor incident over here when police pulled over a Porsche driver. That's what they're calling him, the Porsche driver, and he's such an arsehole. Anyways, a truck driver collided into police cars and 4 police officers died. Yeah. Well, what do you do? But anyways, this has been kind of hard on Canadians. You know, our hearts go out to everybody in Nova Scotia. Because Nova Scotia is a small province and, you know, it's a very tight-knit, the communities are very tight-knit, they know everybody and, you know, nice, friendly people, and to have this happen is horrible. Laura says he may have pulled a gun on the RCMP, but we won't know that for a while. I don't think we're going to know a lot about it for a long time because he was traveling from one place to another. Plus, the RCMP are not going to tell you everything, and they never will. You never get the whole story. And does it matter if we do or not? We just know he was a mental case and he's dead. And it's horrible what he did, and it's going to affect those families for the rest of their lives. Oh, then they found a cracked pipe in the cab of the truck. Yeah, lots of nuts on the roads. But anyways, so other fights. Oh, I'm still fighting with Shoppers Drug Mart about their price gouging on their prescriptions. I talked about that last week. And I have set up a Facebook page where people can talk about places they're having problems with during COVID. And my idea here is then people have a spot where you can go and make a list of the places that have been, you know, supportive during COVID and the ones that have been price gouging and taking advantage of the situation. And, you know, then consumers can pick and choose who they want to support after this is all over with. At least that's my intent. I don't know how it's going to catch on. I've had a lot of people look at it, but I haven't anybody else sharing their stories. So just turn the discussion a little bit away from COVID for a minute, or at least from the darkest sides of COVID and the week. And Walter wants to show you his bag.
I'm not completely done.
Show him your bag. Walter's big bag. Here you go. Yes, there is a pun in there. Where's your bag?
I'm still putting the lining in. So it's got my embroidered butterfly on the front. It's a big bag.
It's a big bag.
And it's got embroidery on the back. And of course I have to have it lined. I'm working on the lining. It's just going to be gray. And it's got decorative stitching on the top.
It's his designer touch.
Yeah, so.
Bonnie says, that's beautiful, Walter. Yes, it is very nice. He does make a nice bag. And
now everybody, you're going to show them.
I'm going to show them my big rooster. Pun intended. Okay, So I just finished this up today. It's not actually done. I'm thinking of making this into a quilt. This was paper piecing. And I'm going to make it into a larger quilt, I think. But I have to design the parts to go around it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So
that's your big.
That's my big rooster.
Okay.
You got a big bag? I have a big rooster. Oh, we're disgusting. Thanks, Anita. Bonnie says her husband really likes my rooster. Oh, so much we can do with that. Chris goes, wow, what a rooster. I can't imagine it being any bigger than that. Oh, we're disgusting, aren't we, people? Bonnie says, combine the rooster and the bag. Well, all you need is a couple of nuts to go with it. Hey, we're right here. Okay, people, we've gone right down the path that way. Yeah, I already know what you get, Bonnie. You're a dirty girl. You are. We love you. Okay, so, and I've been making masks for the neighbors. I told you, I think last week, that I got my machine back and I'm doing these masks in the hoop, and they're turning out pretty good. And so the neighbor requested some. Well, I gave a couple to them and said if they needed any more. So they asked if they could get some more. They want to buy them from me, pay me for them. And I says, no. So they offered us a pie. And we didn't take a pie because, well, you know, nobody can make pie like Walter. So he would be afraid that if he got a pie from them and I tried it and it was better than his. But no. But
I mean, it was nice to offer.
It was a nice offer, yeah. Like, we weren't going to charge them for them. They were neighbors. Of course, mind you, we haven't had a lot of luck with neighbors lately.
Is Cheryl Anita? I always get screwed up.
Yeah, that's Anita.
Yeah, she remember she had bobbin problem?
Oh, Bob wanting to show myself. Yeah, nope, not working. So I ordered some pre-wound bobbins so I could sew. So did you get the pre-wound bobbins and did they work out okay? And he says, pie is good. Yeah, pie is one of my favorite food groups. Okay, so I guess we've already talked a little bit about the whole idea of opening things back up, which right now I think is premature. You want a movie that was surprisingly good? It was on Netflix. It's called Happy Death Day. And it's a bizarre little movie. It's sort of like Groundhog Day, but this girl keeps getting killed and then waking up when she's killed and she's trying to solve her own who the murderer is. And actually, it sounded really stupid, but as you got into it, it was actually not bad at all. So if you're looking for an amusing little time waster, check out Happy Birthday or Happy Death Day on Netflix. And Walter's been cooking more breads. He made cheese bread and banana bread this week. I don't think we've ever eaten so much bread. No, she hasn't. You haven't got them yet, Anita. Okay. Yeah, let me know how that works out for you. Okay, so theme of the week. Now, this is on a little bit more of a serious note, although we've been pretty serious already. But I've been reading some things about the effects of isolation on people's psychology. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about getting cabin fever. So I looked up some articles about this to see, you know, what you can do about it. And I found some interesting stuff. So I found 3 articles that come from professional sources, from doctors and medical and psychological, you know, organizations and things. And I thought it might be interesting just to see how many of these things apply to other people that are on here and how people are coping with it. So one thing I found here, it said, first thing is to recognize that isolation can have a negative impact. The only way to address a problem is to recognize that it exists. And it goes on to say that Research has found that social isolation and loneliness is linked to worsened mental health as well as physical health problems, including cardiovascular issues and a higher risk of early death. Showed that another study showed that loneliness and social isolation can affect sleep quality. And other studies have found that social disconnectedness and depression and anxiety all come from isolation as well. And it says, in other words, if you're feeling more depressed the longer you're staying at home, you're not alone. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The sleep thing, I think I've been dreaming more than I usually do, but it really hasn't affected my sleep. Has it affected your sleep? Yeah, you sleep longer.
Yeah. Actually, I find I have a harder time falling asleep.
Yeah, well, when you do, you don't get up until the next,
Yeah, I
like
know.
2 days later.
Like I'm still awake at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so.
Well, not according to your snoring.
Mm.
But I don't know. So if anybody else been having their sleep patterns affected by being isolated, and I think the point they're making here too is that is to recognize that there is a problem. I guess it's sort of like if you're an alcoholic, right? They say the first thing is to recognize the fact that you're an addict, that you're addicted, that you're an alcoholic. And then so what they're talking about is saying, so to get out of that negative impact, they've got some suggestions. One, they said creating a routine can help. Okay. That one, I always have a routine. So I guess that doesn't apply to me. And I don't know, I think they're talking about something a little more structured. Like they said, building a routine can help in a number of ways, including marking the passage of time so that I can recognize each morning as the start of a fresh new day rather than having emotional, difficult days feel endless. Supporting healthy habits like getting a full night's sleep and stretching my body on a regular basis. I've tried stretching my body, I'm still short. Giving me something to look forward to, like listening to energizing music while I'm taking a shower. That's not the way I interpret creating a routine. I've always had an agenda, things I want to get done during the day. That comes from being a teacher because, teachers' lives are regulated by school bells. We eat at a certain time, we have this class at a certain time, we have this meeting at a certain time. I mean, the whole day is always planned. In fact, when I retired, I was still controlled for quite a long time I'd look at the clock and go, oh, okay, it's 11:35 now, and it's time for lunch, first lunch. I would look at my day and go, okay, I'm now in period 1, I'm now in period 2, and that kind of thing. I'm over that now, but that went on with me for quite a long time, like a couple of years. Anita says I had trouble with sleep before all this too. Okay, and Chris says I had bad sleep patterns before this due to my PTSD. Bonnie's taking magnesium to help her sleep. I tried that. Apparently, some people have a little side effect from magnesium. You get the shits out of it, diarrhea, and so I stopped taking it. So, and then someone told me, I think it was my sister that was telling me about it. She says, well, yeah, if you take too much of it, you'll get the shits. I wasn't taking very much of it. In fact, I was taking like the lowest amount that you possibly could take, and it was still giving that to me. So I gave that one up real quick. So creating a routine, yeah.
But I've always had a problem with sleep, so.
Yeah. Then they say you're still allowed to go outside. Physical distancing guidelines recommend staying home and keeping at least 6 feet of distance from other people, but that doesn't mean you can't go outside near your home. And so that's good
Yeah,
news.
so I've been going, we can go
for walks.
Should go a little more, but actually it was kind of cold and crappy, so.
Yeah.
Maybe when it's a little bit warmer, we'll go out a little bit more.
Well, they say here that it's a good thing to go out for because you get natural light of the outdoors is an excellent source for vitamin D, which can help you fight depression. Just a few minutes outside each day can break up the monotony of staring at the same indoor walls of your home day after day. And you can even incorporate this into a routine by setting an alarm for a lunchtime stroll or an evening outdoor meditation. And they also said that light boxes or sad lamps and foods like egg yolks are good sources too.
No,
Provided
we don't
I
have
guess.
any shortage of eggs.
No,
that we
we no cripes. We eat enough eggs, that's for sure, to the point where we could be laying them. Bonnie says the beautiful here, so we're walking. And Anita says our weather is getting better and going out working in the yard and walks help. Yep. Then it says take on a project that brings you joy. Being stuck at home doesn't have to be all that bad. In fact, it can be an opportunity to dive into home projects, new or long forgotten hobbies and other activities that light you up. Gardening, crafting, creating art can still have potential mental health benefits like soothing stress. Here are a few ideas to get started. Use the principles of color therapy to add a pop of color to your home with DIY painting, sewing, or building projects. Get a new plant delivered and learn how to take care of it. Bake a cake and decorate it before you indulge. Color in an adult coloring book. You can find free DIY tutorials on YouTube or try a service like Skillshare or Blueprint to explore your craft. Well, see, that's something I don't have a problem with. I've always been a crafter. And of course, you know, my quilting and everything, so I do that every day. So, yeah. And I try new things all the time too. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Our schools are now online, Chris says. Only children of essential workers at school. So far, statewide, school attendance is down to around 12%. My daughter is a teacher. She has 30% attendance. I don't think our teachers are actually in a classroom. They're doing it from, you know, the internet, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All our schools are closed.
All our schools are closed. They were talking about reopening the schools in May, but I think that's gone out the window now. So
yeah, they announced that the schools are closed till May 30th at least.
yeah, well, at least. Well, shoot, then bring them back in June. They're gonna make them go in July.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, they won't be open.
No.
I mean, there's no two ways about that. Yeah, Anita says, laugh out loud, that could go so wrong. A pop of color. Yeah. Bonnie says she received 2 new plants today for my
Birthday.
Oh yeah. I'm hoping they live. I sew daily or embroider or both. Yeah, I sew all the time. Our schools, Anita says their schools aren't going back till the fall. Yeah, well, I don't think ours will be either with it. Then it says, rethink what it means to have a social life. You don't have to go out to brunch and bars in order to stay social. Now's the time to tap into many different options for digital communication, including video hangouts, Netflix parties, and a good old-fashioned phone call. Scheduling regular times to get virtually with friends can help keep you from slipping too far into isolation. See, this is something I don't have a problem with. I'm not social like that. I am and I'm not. It doesn't bother me when I don't see people. And actually, you know what is actually kind of bothering me is why there's this push. You almost feel guilty if you're not reaching out to other people right now. You know that you're not visiting them so virtually or that kind of thing. And there are so many things on the internet that are live now. Like YouTube is full of them. I mean, we have this live, but we've been doing this before, you know, long before this disease ever came. But I tried to do a couple of live ones on my Idiot Quilter channel. And I haven't done any since. That was a few weeks ago. It was okay, but after a while, you kind of you feel like you got to entertain people. And I don't know, I'm not an entertainer. I don't know.
Yeah, Laura says she's getting more work done at home because she doesn't have the distractions of phone calls and people coming to the counter asking her questions and visits to her desk from colleagues and politicians.
Yeah, well, that would be true enough, I suppose. Anita's cleaning out our garage is on our list soon. Yeah, they're saying that people's houses will never look as clean as they are now during this. Everybody's doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I need to do stuff to the garage too.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
Yeah, I know, but it's not been nice weather out.
So. Oh, you'll make another excuse.
Yeah,
then it'll be too hot. It's too hot. I don't feel like doing it. Whatever. My 2 sisters and I did a video chat on WhatsApp yesterday and we had a blast. Laura, I think companies may find that employees get more done from home. Invite Chris says, I've used Zoom a couple of times. A friend of mine wants to stay working from home as her bully is no longer bullying her. Well, there's an advantage of that too. So maybe a lot of people that never had the opportunity to work from home before, maybe they're finding this is something that they like and want to do, and maybe they're more productive. Maybe that's a good thing that'll come out of this. I don't know. Um, but I don't really feel the need to be social. Now, maybe if I lived on my own, I would. But believe it or not, I'm actually more of an introvert than an extrovert. I know it's probably hard to believe, right? But it is, it's true. I've had to learn how to be extroverted because of what I did for a living. But that's not actually my nature. I don't mind being with myself. And other people are talking about the fact that they're locked up in their house all the time with their family, like their spouses and their kids. Well, I can see the kids being a problem. Oh yeah, they'd be right off the walls. Um, but we don't have any problems. We're used to being around each other all the time. So, and besides, I go downstairs, he stays upstairs. We come upstairs, he makes my lunch. I go back downstairs. I come back upstairs, he makes my dinner. I go back downstairs. So we don't have any problem. Right?
No.
Oh, okay. Check in with him. Bonnie says I'm an
You get up
introvert,
early,
shy,
I
not
go
sure.
to bed.
Yeah, that's true. Nita says I'm ready for my husband to go back to work. Shh, don't tell him. Laura says that's true. They might, but our workplaces generally discourages it that we're supposed to be available to meet with the public. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not really having a big problem with staying at home, but as I said, I do miss. We're saving a lot of money. We're not doing lunch out,
We're not buying a lot of stuff.
and we're not buying a lot of stuff. Well, a lot of stuff online. Like Walter bought a new thing this week. He bought Alexa a big sister, the big Alexa. She listening? Yeah, she is. I see this big thing. It's about 3 times the size of the regular size Alexa. And I said, where'd that come from? She says, well, I ordered it the other day. And I said, why?
It's got better sound.
It's got better sound. It's got a.
Well, see, the original one I set up because I have bought this fancy stereo, and it's supposed to be able to turn on your stereo and play on your stereo. But then we found that it's got problems. It starts turning on your stereo when you don't want it to turn on.
It has a mind of its own.
And or it won't turn it off when you want it to turn off. So we've just started, when we want music, just started playing it on the regular Alexa that we had, and but its sound isn't as good. So
And Walter's all about sound.
So I thought, well, I wanted to get a subwoofer for the other one, but the subwoofer was on back order. So I thought, well, why don't I just get this one instead?
What was that song you asked her to play the other day when we were testing bass?
Selfie.
Oh yeah.
Alexa, play Selfie. She's not listening. Alexa, play Selfie.
Here's Selfie by the Chainsmokers on Amazon Music.
Alexa, volume 8.
When Jason was at the table, I kept on seeing him look at me while he
Alexa,
said that
stop!
girl.
Okay, now we won't get monetized. So.
No, it's under 10 seconds. You're
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Anyways, it gives you an idea of how much power this little sucker has. Chris says, an extroverted introvert I can do as well to make others feel more comfortable around me. Something I learned to do as a kind of self-preservation thing. Actually, I know what you mean by that. That's actually how I would qualify myself too. I'm an extroverted introvert. I was listening to a Breen Brown podcast yesterday and not sure what I am anymore, shy or introvert. Oh, okay. But, okay, so rethinking your social life. I suppose for some people that is important, but we're not bar hoppers or anything like that, so I don't know. What else did they say here? The state of your home environment makes a difference. Look around you right now. Is your home's appearance chaotic or calming? Does it make you feel trapped or comfy? Now, more than ever, the state of your space can make a difference for your mental health. You don't necessarily have to keep your home looking immaculate, but even a few small steps toward decluttering can help make your space feel warm, welcoming, rather than a place you'd like to escape. Try taking one thing at a time. Like clearing that pile of clothes from your bed one day and putting clean dishes away the next.
We don't have that problem except
Okay,
for my
well,
room.
if you're a pig, I suppose. Be sure to take note of how differently you feel with each step. A little bit of gratitude can go a long way. Okay, so it sounds like the what's her name? Maria Kari, the one who goes, if it doesn't give you joy, throw it away. That one. I don't know. I've heard of some people talking about redecorating, like moving furniture around. I listen to a couple of podcasts that have gay themes to them, and the gay guys seem to be rearranging their furniture every other day. That sounds just so gay. We're not rearranging furniture. If I want to rearrange furniture, I'd be throwing some of it out and getting new, but can't do that right
Yeah,
now.
not into horses either. I'd be better off with a pet, cat or dog.
Yeah, right now I really have the urge to adopt a cat. But then you got to get them food and you got to get them litter. And I don't know, I don't think I can go through that again. It's been 5 years this summer that we've lost Kitty. But I watch these stupid cat videos on YouTube, and it makes me want to have a pussy cat again. Oh yeah, I know. The comedian, the southern comedian Leslie Jordan. Yeah, I have seen. I haven't watched him lately on YouTube, but he's always hilarious. I wouldn't want a pony either because, good God, they'd make a mess of your house.
Pony poop.
Pony poop everywhere. We have bunnies. Well, they're in our backyard, but they're not ours. They're just wild bunnies.
I mean, if we put a garden in, I have a feeling it'll be decimated.
Well, we're gonna now. Walter got seeds in the mail, so we're gonna try to do container gardening because we can put that up on our deck, and bunnies can't climb, from what I know. So they won't be. If we put a garden in down in the ground level, they'd be in there, and no matter what you do, they get
Horse
in.
poo's good for the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much of it do you need?
I was thinking we should just get a goat and delete the lawn, and then we don't have to worry about. And I say we, you won't have to worry about.
We don't
mowing
have a
it.
very big backyard, so
No.
we wouldn't be able to keep a horse.
Laura's doing a container garden as well. Yeah, so we've got these seeds, and we've got a little pot that has these green onions stuck in it. Because Walter read somewhere that you might be able to grow green onions
So
from
far
the
they haven't done
roots.
anything.
They haven't done anything. I threw in some green pepper seeds too, but they haven't done anything either. I don't think they're right. I'm not very good when it comes to keeping things alive. At least as far as gardens are concerned. So yeah, home environment. Well, I don't know. I like my house the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel any great urge to change things around, and we're kind of very neat anyways, except for Walter's office. You don't go in there because, well, you'd probably find Jimmy Hoffa's body somewhere in there if it was.
Yeah, I used to have to clean it up every other week when we got the cleaning lady. No, we haven't had the cleaning lady.
No, so now he just has a shovel to get to a sewing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the weather's consistently warm, Andy says, I want to do my container garden on my balcony, just flowers. Yeah, we're going to put in some vegetables and see what happens. Probably won't get much out of it, but we'll try and see. Now, the last thing they said on this that I found this kind of, therapy is still an option with phone and online services. Yeah, let's get a site. But apparently, again, in some of the podcasts I listen to, this is booming business right now. They have all these online therapists, and they charge money and everything, and there's these services that'll match you up with a therapist that is
I've
right
never
for you.
ever had the urge to have to talk about something.
I don't want to talk to a stranger about my problems. I don't talk about my problems. Don't need to. I don't have that many, if I know of. Thank goodness. I'm very well adjusted. I'm not crazy.
You're just nuts.
Oh well. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be really into therapy. I guess. I mean, okay. I don't have a lot of faith in that, but I know a lot of people that go through it and have done it. I know people who do it on a regular basis and they swear by it. I'm too cheap, for one thing.
Yeah, I'm that way too.
I mean, I can think of better things to throw my money down the drain with, and I do. But I don't know. I suppose though, if it helps you, then it's a possibility, eh? Um,
So we don't have 2 acres, Chris.
yeah, we don't have an acre.
Our lot is 50 feet wide and 100 feet deep.
Yeah, Bonnie, some insurance companies pay for it. It depends on what you've got for insurance. Like, I don't know, our insurance plan that we have, does it pay for it or pay
It
something?
will pay some, I think, but not a lot.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on what kind of insurance you have with it.
I don't know. I've never really looked into it. I know for massages, it only covers $25 a visit, which is not very much.
Well, here they say, check out these options.
I know that's different psychiatrist, but
It says under therapy, check out these options. Talkspace will match you with a licensed therapist you can access right through your phone or computer. Chatbots like Wobot uses a mix of human and AI components to respond to your needs. That reminds me of those old days of the Commodore 128s and that program, Eliza or whatever it was, that you could ask questions and
Oh,
Eliza
yeah.
would, you go, well, why do you feel like that? Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by that? Now we have Alexa. So she just probably responded, didn't she?
no,
Is she listening? I don't know. That one's got an attitude bigger than the other one. Mental health apps like Headspace and Calm don't include direct contact with therapists, but they can help you develop healthy coping mechanisms like mindfulness. I know a lot of people too are talking about meditation. I don't know if any of you are into meditation. I have never done meditation, and I don't think I could sit still that long.
Yeah, I know a few people that were into that, but I don't know. That's never really.
No. Oh, hello, Brenda. How are you? And Chris says therapy is kind of difficult for me. I find it hard to trust, so hard to confide my deepest and darkest. Actually, I don't really have a problem with that. I can tell. I'll tell it. You never want to tell me a secret because I will tell. I tell people that. Don't tell. Look, I'm just between you and me. I said, no, don't do that.
Yeah, he always does that. He says, "Well, I'm not going to tell my parents about this," and then he meets his parent. He met his parents for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden, it came out.
I can't keep a secret. I tell everybody. So if you want to keep something a secret, don't tell me. Because I won't. I will tell. I just can't resist. Anita says, I've talked to a therapist before and I really helped me. I believe in talking to someone if you need to. Maybe some of the people shooting people wouldn't if they talked to somebody. Yeah, true. But you have to have the right kind of people. They have to be good listeners, too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I know some people that would tell you their life story to you and everything like that, but they expect you to come up with an answer. And you know you can't come up with an answer because for things like that, there is no answer. And then you end up, and I'm not the kind of person who makes commiserating noises. Like, I can't sit there and go, oh, that's too bad. Oh, the sun will come out tomorrow. It will. You can bet your bottom dollar that the sun will come out tomorrow because tomorrow, it's gonna be tomorrow. Drop dead. I'm not very sympathetic. I don't know, empathetic. I am empathetic, but I don't want to be bothered. If you got problems, go to someone else. I don't want, but everybody always thinks I'm the kind of person though that they can cry on my shoulder. I've always gotten that, and I don't know why. You must have mistaken me for someone who gives a shit. Because I don't. Go away. I'm nasty. Our government has provided heaps of mental health programs with free therapy on phone, Skype, and Zoom. Yeah, I don't feel that crazy about it, so I don't know. But whatever, I suppose if it gets you through the day, if that's what you need, then who am I to say don't do it? If it works for you, go for it. What else did they say? Oh, other ones to contact others face to face. How's that working? Oh, they're talking about regular video meetings. Okay. Do meaningful things. Constantly checking the latest COVID update is probably not productive for your mental health. Oh, that one I agree with. Every morning I have my little cry. When the Prime Minister talks about stuff and the questions that come out from the thing every day, it's like, oh, we're never going to get out of this thing. And I want to turn it off and I want to stop watching the news because I know what the news is going to say, and yet I still do it. And I know of other people that have said, no, they've turned it off, they refuse to even watch it anymore. But then I feel like I might be missing something. You know, I don't know. It's a catch-22. This says, instead, engage in meaningful tasks. These can range from housework to reading to finally starting that project you've been unable to dig into. Staying engaged in the world allows us to use newer, more logical parts of our brain, making it less likely we will dwell on what's out of our control. Yeah, okay, I get the philosophy behind that, but when they talk about doing meaningful things...
Isn't that just a repeat of all the stuff that you said last time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, this was a different article, but here's one, though, that they did mention. Hang with pets.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Not hang up your pet. Hang with pets. Yeah, see, that I can see. You know?
Yeah, pets are usually good therapy.
Yeah. It's just not the same. You're not as soft and fluffy as Cleo was. But I know that actually...
Yeah, maybe,
get on your back and I'll rub your belly.
Give me a couple more weeks and...
Yeah, I know. God, that's the one thing that's depressing. It's my hair. God, I don't think I've gone this long without a haircut in like years. If ever. Keep your sense of humor. Well, we already showed you my big cock and his big bag. What more do you want? I mean, really. Okay, didn't say that your sense of humor couldn't be dirty. Oh, it says, don't stop watching really stupidly silly movies. Okay. It's okay to laugh at some parts of your situation, which is unprecedented. Never joke at someone else's expense, Mark Mann says, but keep smiling. Well, that's the best kind of humor, is at somebody else's expense, really. If you can't cut up people, then you have to get back the toaster oven. Really, that's part of the whole gay world. We cut it up. We go, oh, girlfriend, what were you thinking when you got into that outfit? Oh, no, it makes your ass big. Does this make me look fat? Yes, it does. Moving on. Oh, I amuse myself.
Yeah, people wearing masks all the time. You don't know how ugly they really are.
Yeah. And he says, it's very easy to be very serious about everything right now. Of course, this is serious. There are people who are sick and people who are dying. But if you look throughout history, the worst situations, the people who get through it feeling best from a mental health standpoint are those who keep their humor. Markman says, gallows humor exists for a reason. People poke fun at the idea of death to make something scary a little less so. To joke with friends about being alone is an incredibly valuable thing, he says. Humanity's ability to find humor in anything is one of the more valuable traits, he adds. Reach out to those who might be worse off. Maybe you're afraid of feeling lonely, but you can probably think of a few people who might have it worse. Maybe they have clinical depression or another diagnosed disorder. If you're hanging out with people like that, you're going to be depressed. Or they're just prone to lonely feelings. So make an effort to connect with them in a way that you'd like to connect with others. Yeah, he says, think about that list of folks who may not have people that they can talk to. Yeah, there's an awful lot of pressure on people. Have you noticed this lately? To be nice, to do things for other people. And there's all this pressure now to rise above the situation and to give up of yourself to everyone in the world and everyone to become a martyr and do nice things in the whole bit. And I think that can make you depressed because you see all these people doing, oh, they're all raising money for this charity, or they're all out there making 3,000 million masks that are going to be thrown in the garbage because they absolutely don't help at all. 2 pieces of quilting cotton does not make a medical mask, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, but it might do something.
Well, I guess the whole point is it makes you feel like you're doing something. But then sometimes you don't feel like you're doing enough. Like, okay, I had a friend contact me a couple of weeks ago. Some article about a local girl who is mentally challenged or has a whole lot of health issues is making all these masks, you know, for her neighbors and for other people and whatnot. And she's running out of fabric. So of course my friend knows I quilt. So contacted me about did I have any fabric? Maybe she would take it and make sure it got dropped off to this person. Well, I felt really bad about it, but I said no. And I'm going to be honest about it. I wasn't giving up my fabric. I paid a lot of money for that fabric. I can't get fabric right now. I'm doing a lot of projects. I don't have any fabric to give out. I'm sorry. And, you know, and my feeling about that was I felt bad about it. But if I give away all of my stuff, then what am I going to do? Kind of a thing. So I don't know, maybe that's being selfish in the whole bit, but needless to say, I was kind of upfront with her though. I didn't make really an excuse. I said basically what I just said to you about it. Probably hate me for life now, find me very uncharitable, but my fabric, I'm keeping it. Sorry, I'm using it. I won't have enough to make more cocks. Simple as that.
Well, you got enough last to make 10,000 masks right now.
Well, yeah, I got enough plastic for it. And I'll make it on a need to make them basis.
Yeah, we're handing out masks to friends or whatever.
Yeah, and Brenda says, I found that you reap what you sow. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there is so much pressure being put on us through.
Well, actually, one thing that I think that a lot of people, the isolation, like, I mean, we're together, we get along okay and stuff like that.
Till dinner.
Yeah.
Then you're dead.
But there's a lot of people that live by themselves, and social life is a big thing for them, right? Because they're on their own all the time. So if they're by themselves all the time, they don't have anybody to talk to.
Well, I belong to a group, a club called the Quilters Way. You've heard me talk about before. And we used to get together on Zoom every other week. And it's sort of like a half socializing, half learning environment. And now the person who hosts this, she's been we get together every Friday. And next weekend, we're going to try a virtual retreat. And I know some of the people that come on that on a regular basis, they do live alone. And so they are feeling somewhat isolated. So they really appreciate being able to do this Zoom thing and get involved. Plus we talk during the week too, you know, through email on the system back and forth. And those people I know, they really appreciate it. They've said so with it all. And yeah, I kind of like the Zoom meetings and seeing the other people. I've made some kind of friends on there in a sense too. So yeah, I get that. But I mean, what I was saying is that everybody's talking about doing things for everybody else. Okay, now I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just saying it's putting a lot of pressure on you to be something more than you may be under normal circumstances. I don't know if that makes any sense. You feel bad if you're not giving as much as everybody else is supposedly giving. Like all the artists are doing these concerts from their homes right now. I mean, there's one on TV here in Canada tonight, you know, Stronger Together kind of a thing. There's everybody making masks for, you know, that. Everybody showing their appreciation to the frontline workers. Well, I don't think any of those things are bad. It's just now makes you feel like you're inadequate. Like, oh, what am I doing? You know, kind of a thing. I don't know. And I think that can make you feel depressed. Everything's a choice. Do what you want, Bonnie says. And he says, I think you should just do what you feel you can do and not be used or pushed. Yeah. But right now, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of pushing for people to be super people. And I don't know. And some people do. They rise to it. I mean, I told you about that Caremongers group that I joined back weeks ago. And the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking there's too many people taking advantage of the kindness of other people on there. So, I don't know. Bonnie says she's not feeling that pressure. Well, you selfish bitch. I'm just joking, Bonnie. Okay. Let's see, was there any other interesting things they had here about being isolated? Oh, exercise. Yeah, there's a lot of people are talking about now that they want to get into their bikini bodies by the time this thing's over with.
Not our friend that was posting on Facebook with all her donuts and stuff like
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, her ass is going to be a lot bigger by the time this is over. Boost your immune system. Research on the effects of loneliness suggests that when people lack social connections, they're more likely to suffer from physical health problems. For example, older adults who can't leave their homes due to impaired mobility are more susceptible to illness such as heart disease, and studies have found that polar research crews can suffer from reductions in their immune system. And studies have found that polar research crews can suffer from reductions in their... Does this mean people who are doing research in the polar cap? I don't understand what that means. That sentence just came right out of the blue. The good news is that the period of self-isolation needed for coronavirus should not result in any marked changes in how your immune system works. But during self-isolation, it may be a good idea to try to improve your immune response. Exercise and getting enough vitamins can help here, although contrary to some internet sources, they're not a cure. Psychologists also believe that listening to upbeat music or watching a movie can also boost your immune function.
Well, actually, I think you need to exercise more. I'm exercising less because I used to go to the gym a couple times a week, and now I go for walks, but I probably don't walk as much as I should. But another thing is if you're saying in all the time, people still are getting a lot less exercise because they're not, if you're going to work and you're working, you're still walking to get to work, and you're still walking around at work and doing all that stuff. A lot of people don't realize it, don't see that as exercise, but it's exercise instead of laying around on the couch watching TV.
Yeah, Chris says, what's that? Exercise? Really did not do it before. Why would I do it now?
Actually, you probably did a lot of exercise before. You're just finding, if you're at home a lot now, you're not doing as much as you did in walking around or doing something or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I've always exercised. So I have my treadmill. I go on it every morning. I've actually increased how far. I mean, I don't run on a treadmill. I'm not going to wreck my knees. I walk.
I don't like using a treadmill.
I walk very fast. It doesn't bother me because I sit there and I watch Netflix or my stories and things on there. So, but that's a habit. I've always done that. So it's still there. And yeah, I've actually lost a little weight. Well, that's what we've been trying. We've been on this diet, as you know, kind of a thing.
And we haven't been eating out, so.
No, that's really saved us a lot of calories on that, I can tell you.
Money.
Yeah, and money, yeah. That's pretty good, actually. But, yeah, well, I think exercise is a good thing. One thing I know that exercise does is it releases something, endorphins or something. It gives you at one point when you're exercising, it gives you a sense of euphoria or something. Like it kind of, if you're feeling a little bit dragged out, it helps. And I do know exercise does help with your immune system as well. I've known that for years. So, I mean, it can't hurt, can it? But it's too easy, too, to just, get up and go, I don't feel like doing anything. I think I'll lay on the couch, eat bonbons, and watch stupid movies on TV. And I have to admit there have been some days where I do that. I mean,
You got your stories.
I have my stories. I have to see my stories. Yeah. But usually when that hits me, that's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's my sleepy time, because I've already been up and done everything that my whole day is done by 2, because I've done everything I want to do that day and more by 2. So that's my little time for relaxing. Your sleepy time's right after you eat, and then you pass out.
Yeah.
My husband, Anita says her husband runs every morning. However, I'm not geared that way. I do have a bicycle to ride when weather gets warmer. And Bonnie says, I've realized how little I truly need, hoping not to go back to buying needlessly. Actually, I'm kind of the reverse. I'm sort of stockpiling now. Well, yes and no.
Not really.
No, well, no, not really. But I mean...
Actually, I have been buying less, even though I bought a few things online.
Yeah, I bought less. Actually, I've realized now how much money I really was spending at the quilting store on fabric because I've saved a lot of money since this has happened when it comes out. I mean, geez, I think I've pretty much paid their salaries every month for sure. And I'm really not kidding on that one. Chris says she walks heaps and has bad knees from an injury now, worsening now from arthritis. Walking is gentle. I have never been able to run as the boobs would knock me out. Yeah, I know how you feel, dear. Your stories will soon run out, won't they, due to COVID? You know, that's the amazing part because some of my stories that I get, I don't have to rely upon television stations.
I noticed
Hint,
that
hint, wink, wink.
I sometimes go on a site and see what movies are coming out in the future, and I've noticed there's nothing coming out in the future.
No. So, but you know, there's a whole list of classic shows and things I've never watched before that, you know, I might watch again. I'm not a big TV watcher anyways, and what I mean by that is, you know, I don't follow a series, and you know, I have to be watching TV at.
Yeah, well now we have Netflix, you can binge.
Well,
watch
yeah,
it,
we
so-
binge watch, so we have that. But actually, I watch more YouTube than I watch anything else. But I usually have that on while I'm working on something else. So, unless I'm sitting in my chair drinking wine and watching it on a Friday night. Anita says 2 p.m. MF is
Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday is our government meeting about COVID. Oh, okay. Yeah, ours comes on at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 12 every morning. The only thing I bought, Anita says, was the darn bobbins, except for groceries.
Bobbins, did you get the right size for your machine? Just curious, they're class 15 usually.
Still selling your cocks. Oh, sweetie, I would have done that years ago when I was younger if I could have got the money, but technology wasn't there then. There are so many stories out there to watch. Event cinemas here are streaming latest release movies online. They have releases right up till the end of the year. Well, they're doing some of that too here.
Yeah.
They're releasing some new things on that. I
Yeah, they're
refuse to pay for them,
streaming new releases, but you have to pay for it.
and I refuse to pay for it.
You have to pay a premium price for it, so I think I can wait.
Because I'm cheap, so there's no two way about it. So here's one other one they had: avoid conflict. In some cases, people will be self-isolating with a small group of people, whether family or friends. This may limit loneliness, but could present other challenges, namely the possibility for arguments. Even those we love dearly can get on our nerves when we're stuck inside with them for long enough. Yeah, okay. Actually, I did hear kind of a bad statistic saying that, what do they call it? Matrimonial abuse, or that's not the term. You know, guy's beating up his wife. What do they call it? Spousal abuse. Spousal abuse is a little bit on the rise right now. So that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, domestic violence. Yeah. Yeah, that's not really good. So anyways, I guess we have still a long time to cope with this, and I guess when does a coping become adapting, and when does adapting become adopting, and then natural? Because I think that's maybe where we're headed. I think in another few weeks, another month or so, I think that we're all going to get to the point where we're going to accept what I think we're going through. Like, it's like stages of grief. You know, what's the first stage of grief? Is sadness, then anger, then I don't know, something else. That I think that's kind of what this is all about too. I think there may be some parallels. Have to look that up and see if there is any studies on that kind of thing. Okay, Bonnie, you have a good birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and
We're at the end
Anita
of our
says,
time.
yeah, alcohol and drinking is on the rise too. Yeah. When you have nothing else to do, there's always booze, isn't there? Yum yum. We've been told, other than returning Aussies to Australia, there will be no international flights to and from Australia till the end of the year, and possibly will not into the new year. Wonder if the 3-week rule Andy says about creating a habit applies here. Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Well, online gambling's on the rise as well. Yeah, there's lots of vices out there too. And apparently the porn industry online's doing really well too, according to my sources. I'm not going to say any more about that. Oh, I'm not expecting anything to change at all with this situation all summer. Yeah, I think the bottom line of all of this is not to get our expectations up too high, that we're going to be out of this like soon. Everybody's looking for that magic date. And I think we're looking for a magic date because it's something like we can work towards. You know, it's like the countdown to Christmas, or, you know, the countdown to your next vacation, or whatever thing like that, the number of days left in the school year. And I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that magic number so we can look ahead and go, okay, we're one day closer. And when you can't see the end, I think that's what depresses people and puts people into despair. So I don't know how you get out of that. I guess well, it's a cliche, but take one day at a time. Anyways, that's our time. Speaking of time. So we're off. Hope you have a good week. Don't get sick. Don't get lonely. Don't be depressed. Have a good one. And we'll see everybody next week. And my vlog's up tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.